The Cleveland Browns are spiraling into absolute chaos right before one of the most important games of their season because reports say quarterback Shedeur Sanders has flat out refused to suit up against the Cincinnati Bengals after a heated and explosive clash with head coach Kevin Stefanski. And this isn't just another quarterback versus coach disagreement. This is shaping up to be a full-blown franchise power struggle that could tear the entire season apart. Insiders are calling it the most dramatic standoff the Browns have faced in years, and the timing could not be worse, because just days before a divisional matchup that could decide playoff positioning, the team is now engulfed in an unprecedented quarterback rebellion that threatens to unravel everything Cleveland has built, from ownership's bold draft night promises to Stefanski's iron grip system. And if you thought the Browns' dysfunction couldn't possibly get worse after training camp suspensions and months of quiet resentment, buckle up, because this latest eruption might be the breaking point that changes the future of the entire franchise. It all started behind closed doors in what was supposed to be a routine team meeting, but according to multiple insiders, that room turned into ground zero for the Browns' internal meltdown because Kevin Stefanski, the head coach who prides himself on discipline and structure, reportedly stood up and questioned Shedeur Sanders' leadership in front of the entire group, suggesting that Dillon Gabriel, the same quarterback who had just returned from suspension, deserved more first-team reps. And that was the moment the tension that had been simmering for months finally boiled over. Players inside said you could feel the air get heavy as Stefanski went further, pointing out Sanders' preparation habits, his decision-making in the pocket, and even his body language in high-pressure moments. And while Sanders at first stayed quiet, trying to take the criticism without showing emotion, witnesses say his demeanor suddenly shifted, his expression hardened, his posture changed, and for the first time since joining the Browns, he openly pushed back. The meeting ended abruptly as Sanders walked out without acknowledging his coach or teammates, leaving a stunned silence hanging over the room. And to those who have tracked the Browns' dysfunction from training camp until now, that moment wasn't just a disagreement, it was the culmination of months of frustration, resistance, and quiet resentment exploding in the most public way possible. The tension only escalated when practice rolled around the next day because what should have been a standard 7-on-7 drill turned into the breaking point for the entire organization. Sanders started off sharp, completing 3 straight passes and moving the offense with ease. But on the 4th rep, a miscommunication with a rookie receiver led to an incompletion, and instead of treating it as just another play in practice, Stefanski reportedly stopped everything, gathered the entire team's attention, and launched into what sources described as a humiliating breakdown of Sanders' reads and progressions. This wasn't constructive feedback. Players said it felt more like an intentional public takedown, with Stefanski even mocking him by saying Gabriel would make that throw blindfolded. And that's when Sanders finally snapped. He ripped off his helmet, locked eyes with Stefanski, and in front of everyone said, "I'm done with this disrespect," before walking straight off the field and out of the facility. No explanation, no discussion, nothing but stunned silence left behind. Veterans on the roster later told reporters they'd never seen anything like it, not just because Sanders exploded, but because it wasn't reckless anger. It felt like a calculated message, a quarterback willing to risk everything to demand respect. And within hours, sources say his representatives were already on the phone with Browns management, delivering an ultimatum that Sanders would not play against the Bengals unless Stefanski apologized and changes were made to the coaching staff, an ultimatum that landed in Berea like a nuclear bomb. The ultimatum shook the Browns to their core. Ownership suddenly trapped between their star quarterback and the authority of their head coach. Andrew Berry tried to broker peace by suggesting Sanders play limited snaps, but both sides shut it down. Stefanski demanded control, while Sanders wanted full respect, and the locker room quickly split. The veterans on the offensive line backed Stefanski's structure, while younger receivers stood with Sanders, believing in his arm and fire. Even Amari Cooper's players-only meeting ended in more division, and now the Browns face the Bengals with a fractured roster and a franchise caught in a full-blown power struggle. The drama didn't just stay inside the facility, it exploded across the fan base and media within minutes. Social media turned into a battlefield with number Fire Stefanski, trending as frustrated Browns fans demanded change. Sports radio callers blasted ownership for letting the team collapse. Ticket holders threatened cancellations, and merchandise sales reportedly dipped overnight. While national analysts lined up on opposite sides, some defending Sanders' stance, others backing Stefanski's authority, and all of this chaos is unfolding just days before facing Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who are watching Cleveland implode while preparing calmly and methodically for a divisional showdown that suddenly feels like an ambush waiting to happen. From the Bengals side, this is almost a gift, because instead of preparing for a locked-in franchise quarterback, they now face a Browns team in total disarray. Cincinnati coaches quietly told reporters they're ready for anything, whether it's Sanders, Gabriel, or a backup under center, and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are locked in, treating this game as a chance to bury a rival already beating itself. League insiders say the perception of Cleveland as a dysfunctional circus is spreading fast, and the longer this standoff drags on, the more the Browns look like a team that's already lost before kickoff. For Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders, this standoff is more than just a clash, it's a career-defining moment. Stefanski came to Cleveland as the disciplined system builder who led the team to the playoffs, but now he's seen as a coach on the brink of losing his locker room. While Sanders arrived with star power, ownership backing, and expectations of instant success, yet refusing to play has fans and executives split between calling him entitled or courageous, and across the league, every team is watching closely because the outcome could set a precedent, either proving a young quarterback can force change through sheer leverage or reinforcing that coaches still hold the final authority. Inside the Browns locker room, the tension has reached a boiling point. Veterans on the offensive line quietly back Stefanski, preaching patience and structure, while younger players, especially the receivers, are rallying behind Sanders after months of building chemistry with him. Defensive leaders are trying to stay neutral, but admit privately they're tired of the constant drama. Even a players-only meeting meant to unite the roster only deepened the divide, leaving the team fractured days before facing Cincinnati. And the sense among insiders is clear: this isn't just a disagreement, it's a roster tearing itself apart from the inside out. As kickoff against the Bengals closes in, the Browns remain paralyzed. Jimmy Haslam is flying in to demand answers. Andrew Berry is scrambling with backup plans. And both Stefanski and Sanders are standing firm with no compromise in sight. Practices look like funerals. Players are going through motions, while nobody knows who will actually start under center, and the entire franchise feels like it's collapsing in real time. A season that began with playoff dreams, now reduced to chaos, ultimatums, and uncertainty. And no matter what happens on Sunday, this standoff has already left a permanent scar on the Cleveland Browns. So here we are, the Cleveland Browns staring down the most important game of their season with a franchise quarterback refusing to play, a head coach clinging to authority, and ownership trapped in the middle. What should have been a divisional showdown has become a national spectacle, a reminder that dysfunction can destroy even the most talented roster. And no matter what happens against Cincinnati, one thing is certain: this saga has redefined the Browns' future, reshaped careers, and left fans wondering if this franchise will ever escape the cycle of chaos that seems to define Cleveland football.